making cakes. Too busy fucking.
You got shit in your hair now.
Shit in my hair now.
What is that? There's an old tree in there.
There's an old tree in there, huh?
What?
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? It's Ramon and Jim from Galactic Ireland. Welcome to episode number 2 of Galactic News. Everything that's going on in space, up in the galaxy, up in the galaxy, what's going on in the solar system, and a little bit of news as to what's going on with our upcoming events now that we are at level 3
plus
lockdown, whatever the fuck that means. Anyway, so we might not be able to do any more Wicklow events at the moment because it would be bad form for us to be dragging people out of the county line, but we will be looking to run some in some dark spots around Dublin if we can find them, preferably maybe up in the Dublin mountains, maybe on the county line.
Sounds
maybe
good.
up near maybe up in the Dublin mountains near the what's the name of that place, Kipior.
It's in the backyard either. But
Yeah.
Can just get
but
out
we're looking at another location that we can do without rubbing people up the wrong way and without breaking any laws. Not that you break the law by crossing the county line, but they're saying that we shouldn't, so we won't.
We don't like to rub people up.
We don't like to rub people up the wrong way. So anyway, we did a great tour 2 nights ago up in the Sugarloaf. We had 13 people. It was really, really good. We'll put up some photos of that now.
They're so good, the photos.
Yeah, we'll put them up this evening. And so this week we are talking about some news. So what's going on, Jimbo?
Yeah, there's heaps happening.
Well, right, there's heaps happening.
As ever. Just edit that bit out.
Yeah.
I think the big news this week is
Venus. Yeah,
and
100%.
they've taken some samples from the upper atmosphere of Venus and found some chemical compounds that suggest there may have been life there at some point.
And what was the chemical?
Or there might be now. I think it's called phosphine.
So they saw that in the clouds of Venus. For the first time we've seen this now. It's also produced here on Earth in an industrial process, but it's also produced by microbes and at crushing pressures and high temperatures deep inside gas giants like Jupiter. But inside this phosphine gas are microbes that usually signal that there is some life formed.
I think it's in Diet Coke as well.
Okay,
Is it?
There you go. It's the spice of life, yeah, sure. But there shouldn't be any on Venus, according to the Planetary Science Institute. According to them, quote, it doesn't belong there. So right now, it's the only explanation we have, but I'm sure over the next few weeks they're going to come up with some other reason why it's there. But at the moment, according to the experts, it does show that there's signs of life.
That's an interesting discovery.
Super interesting. So Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. Totally, it's all good. So signs of life, really, really cool. Also, the Arecibo telescope, in other news, which is based in Puerto Rico, which is a giant dish radio telescope where they send radio signals out to space and wait for a reply. It's supposed to be the best way that we can find out if there's radio signals coming back. It's also famous for tracking asteroids and for advancing the search for ETs.
It's crazy that we built that thing.
Yeah.
And we're pinging out messages in the hope of receiving something back.
Yeah. It's
That's
a SETI site. Don't know if for those of you that don't know, SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We actually have a SETI site here in the Midlands. I think it's Roscommon. It's run by Eamon Ansbro, actually. Eamon Ansbro is the man. We went to see a lecture with him, me and my friend Al McDiddles. You remember that night? We went to see him talk about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and he said that they were actually starting to get some radio signals back, but of course, that didn't make the 9 o'clock news. Surely that should have made the 9 o'clock news.
Disturbing information.
That's some freaking serious data. But at the Arecibo telescope, there was an accident recently where a piece of metal fell off from the actual radio array that spins around to generate the electricity or to generate the radio waves, and it fell off it and landed about 200, 300 feet down onto the actual dish, breaking it.
How big is the thing?
Oh, it's massive.
It's huge.
Yeah, it could be like a third of a kilometer, or it's
dish.
massive. It's absolutely massive. You see GoldenEye when
in the film?
Yeah, it's in GoldenEye when Pierce Brosnan is hanging off the top of it. That's the Arecibo telescope. So go and have a look. Or else just Google the Arecibo telescope array. It's pretty cool.
Do you reckon that's a sign? Like this cable on it broke? Were we about to find something?
Maybe. Yeah, it could have been. Maybe it could have been. It could be a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they don't. Maybe they
But it
don't
didn't
want-
break the whole thing. Anyway, is the point. Like it knocked the edge off it. None of the electronics were broken.
Yeah. It took a fair chunk. It took a chunk off it.
But it's still working, like.
It's still working.
Thank God for that.
No, I don't think it is working.
Oh, it's broken.
Don't think so. Don't think so. Anyway, they're looking to find out what was the exact cause of why it broke off, and they'll come back to us soon.
That's going to be the exact time when all these messages were coming in.
Yeah,
and we're going to just plug it back in, and it's going to be like nothing again.
We missed it.
I was like,
we
oh,
missed
fuck.
it.
The aliens were like, we sent this whole lot of shit there.
Yeah.
In September 2020, we were like, oh, I was out for a week.
Damn it. We talked about the week before last about a couple of asteroids, or an asteroid that was coming by that just missed us by a few million kilometers. 2 new asteroids flew safely past us this week. The bus-sized asteroid 2020 RF3 and the car-sized asteroid 2020 RD4.
Are you making those numbers up, man?
No.
You're totally making them up.
The asteroid R2D2 and C3PO.
I think it was the 46A and the Toyota Prius.
All right, you know what? Well, it could have been the 17 that goes from Blackrock, because it comes like once every fucking 20,000 years. So anyway, they missed us. We're keeping an eye on it, so check back in next week to know if there's any more on the way.
Near misses are good, aren't they?
The next thing we want to talk about was the client issue. So
the climate stuff. So we're obviously very aware of what's going on with the climate at the moment, with human-induced climate change. The scientists have made the most comprehensive record of the climate on Earth for the last 66 million years. So they've taken a look at data from right when the asteroid hit and the dinosaurs were all wiped out, and they've drawn this graph that goes from then all the way to now, the temperature differences. And the really freaky thing is this huge hockey stick right at the end, right where we started.
Now, what's a hockey stick? What do you mean?
The chart just goes boom and starts
so
pointing.
The chart looks like a hockey stick. Right.
Yeah. And what they're saying is if we keep going in the same direction we're going to be, the planet will be the hottest it's been in 66 million years in by 2030, 2050 kind of time frame. So that's within our lifetime, man. That's some scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
That one, don't want to bring the mood down, but that one hit me between the eyes. You know?
Well, Jimmy works for the...
I work for the government in promoting renewable and sustainable energy. So that's part of the story here. You know, we got to get off fossil fuels and start looking after the place, you know. So that starts with looking after ourselves and looking after each other. And this is just more data to reinforce what the science has been saying for ages now. And it's something that we need to wake up to, man. We've all woken up to COVID and we're all looking after each other. But we've got to do the same for our place, man, because if we don't do that, there's no more stargazing anyway.
No more stargazing. We won't have a rock to look off, basically. Yeah. So we could be reducing our plastic.
Yeah, reducing waste, reducing fossil fuels, taking the bike, walking, cycling, doing all of that more.
Go vegan, maybe.
Could do, change the diet, get away from land animals, get off carbon intense foods, all that kind of stuff.
All just suggestions and solutions. By
do what you can. Like it's really, it's just about learning as well and getting to know how you're playing a part in it and doing what you can as best you can.
Yeah. All right, there we go. So climate change, big deal. Let's sort it out. The Kardashev scale. Now, I don't know if any of you know what the Kardashev scale is.
What's the Kardashev scale, Ramon? Tell me all about it.
The Kardashev scale was produced by a Russian astronomer called Nikolai Kardashev, and it rates a civilization on the amount of power it can harness as a species.
Okay.
So there's level 1, level 2, level 3. I think there's levels beyond that as well. Carl Sagan knows all about this stuff as well. So he was talking about the Kardashev scale. Now, it's a theoretical scale, okay? But what it basically says is if you're a type 1 civilization, it means you're able to fully harness all the power of the planet that you're living on with help from the energy of the star that you're revolving around, right? So that's a type 1. According to scientists, now we are like at 0.7. Yeah. So we're close. We're close to becoming a type 1 civilization. Type 2 civilization is a civilization that can harness the power of its star.
Wow.
Right? So
how would you do that?
Well, I'll get to that in a second, right? And then type 3 is, are you able to harness the power of your entire galaxy? All right, so that's crazy stuff.
Sounds like a lot. What would you do with that kind
What
of power?
would you do with that kind of power? I don't know. It could be like Thanos, man.
Oh, yeah.
In the Marvel movies. He was
Kicking it.
definitely type 3, if not type 4.
He was a type 3.
He was definitely a type 3.
His Tinder profile, type 3. Thanos, type 3.
Exactly.
I can harness the whole thing.
What's he like in bed? Galactic. All right. So we are 0.7 apparently. But what they were saying was there's a star out there in the universe, very, very far away, called Tabby Star, and it's been dimming at a certain rate for a certain amount of time. So what they've observed is if a planet or an exoplanet is dimming, which what Kepler looks for exoplanets, and it looks for a light signature coming off that star or planet. All right, and usually if there's like small little dims in the light and they're fairly regular, it could mean that there's something like it's something orbiting it. All right, it could be moons or it could be a planet orbiting a star. All right.
Yep.
I suppose the shorter that the light is dimming and coming back, that would suggest that it's a smaller object orbiting something bigger. Whereas if the light is dimming not semi-regularly, but with longer intervals in between, that means that when something is transiting the star, it must be something massive, right? So Tabby Star is famous for this because it was having these mad long transits, which suggested to scientists that it could be the evidence of a Type 2 civilization who built a Dyson sphere to orbit the star.
A Dyson what?
A Dyson sphere.
I think I have one of those at home.
It's an electromagnetic structure that goes around a star, right?
Oh, I don't have
and
one of those.
harnesses the power from the star.
Oh, that's not what I got.
Dyson sphere.
I got this thing you plug it in.
Oh, that sucks, bro. Dyson sucks, like.
Oh, that's what I got.
Right?
Sorry, I got confused there.
Dyson sphere.
Insane.
They think that the light coming off Tabby Star is because the transit that is coming across the star is so massive that
Could be one of the Dyson spheres.
It can't be a star, it can't be a planet, and it can't be anything. It's way bigger than that. So whatever's dimming this star, Tabby Star, is massive because it's a huge object
What do you think
revolving
it
around
is,
it.
man?
I think it could be a Dyson sphere.
Holy moly.
That's their conclusion.
Which would have them at type 2 on
That
the
would
card
have them at Type 2.
Okay.
Down Tabby Star.
Give me a shout,
Named
give me a shout and find
after
out. How'd they do it?
an astronomer, American astronomer, Tabitha. I should know the name. I can't remember now. Kowalski or something like that.
Pretty amazing, yeah. She thought it was a blip in the data, but they checked it out.
They checked it out, yeah.
It
They
was
thought
dimming like,
it was dimming, and it was
20% or
consistent. It was a consistent reading over a decade. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So
like,
they got pretty sure about
they're
it.
pretty sure about
They
it.
don't know what it is, but the theory is it's a Dyson.
It's a massive structure that's
V2.
or a massive ship.
A ship.
Could be a ship.
Holy moly.
Who knows? Anyway, look,
that's brilliant.
I'm just theorizing. I'm not saying
We'll
that.
keep our eye on it for you, and we'll keep you up to
an eye on
speed.
it. We'll let you know what's going on with Tabby Star. What have we got going on in the sky this week? What can we see, Jimmy? What's available?
I've seen the planets up there this week
Yeah,
from
big
the
time.
backyard. I
Big
mean,
time.
Mars is beaming.
Mars is
So
beaming.
bright, so
Super
amazing. Jupiter's there. Saturn's there with the rings, and
Sat's
that's
out.
been great crack the last couple of weeks
Yeah,
out
it's
there
been brilliant.
with everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
they've been loving
when
that.
people
Especially
see the rings of Saturn, they're just like, "What? That's it there?" And it's like you've seen the rings on the internet or wherever you've seen them.
Yeah,
and then you're
instant
looking
impact,
at them like
instant perspective, instant.
like the reflection of our sun
Yeah.
from 1 billion kilometers away coming
Yeah.
back at you off the rings of Saturn.
And then seeing the moons
they're like,
as well.
They're like only a kilometer
Yeah,
thick.
and then
see them.
and then seeing the moon, Jupiter and the moons.
Crazy.
Sometimes they're all on a straight line. Now it's got like 79 odd moons or something like that, right? 79, 76.
It's a beast, and thank God for it, like, because it's such a huge gravitational force around Jupiter that
It is the
it's
Dyson
holding.
of that's it,
of
the solar system.
Sucking up
it
all of those,
sucks up
yeah.
all the big asteroids and big comets or big asteroids that come in from the asteroid belt. So without Jupiter here, we would just get crushed because we wouldn't have the cleaner.
And
basically.
an awesome photo this week from NASA of Jupiter, the clearest photo
Oh yeah,
of the
you
bands
guys
and
go
the
go
red
go
spot
yeah, go
and
type in
everything like that.
space.com, isn't it?
And when you see it, have a look at the red spot and just imagine Earth like disappearing into that spot.
Because that red
that's
spot on
way big
Jupiter
enough
is
to
a
swallow.
huge, massive, giant hurricane. You could fit like dozens.
You
or-
could drop the Earth straight through it, and yeah, so it's good for a relative size kind of a buzz. But
It's
the picture is beautiful.
Yeah,
It's so
the-
amazing.
yeah.
The swirling patterns and looks like a whole sand pattern, but it's massive.
Yeah, it's massive, and the
beautiful to see.
colors are amazing.
Beautiful to see it,
Now,
yeah.
obviously, we can't see that with just so you know. we can't see that kind of detail with the equipment that we have, but we can.
We don't have the Hubble telescope.
We
there
don't
with
have
us
the Hubble
on the night, but the binoculars are great.
Yeah, the binoculars are amazing. So wait, like you've all seen the pictures. So I'll stick up some pictures this week of the last tour that we did 2 nights ago. We had 13 people out. Everybody had a great time. It was such a good buzz. I
don't think many people have seen the moons of Jupiter from it. I mean,
No?
you can see 4 of these things. You can see the planet, and you can see 4 of the dots, and they're moving, so they're in different shapes every week.
Some nights,
It's really
the 4
nice,
biggest ones, Io, Callisto, Ganymede, and Europa, are 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and they're on the dead straight line. It looks like its own set of rings, right?
So nice,
But
huh?
then some nights, all the moons are all over the place. And then some nights, all the moons are behind the planet. You can't see them. You might only see one. Do you know what I mean? But then as the night goes on, they start to appear because they're orbiting. Do you know what I mean?
So nice.
Also, this week we can still just about see the galactic center around Sagittarius. We can still see the star cloud in the Scutum constellation. This is all blah blah blah. I know that, but in the Scutum constellation, which is down towards where galactic center is, so basically center of the Milky Way, there's an amazing thing called the Scutum star cloud. It looks like the synapse of a brain. There are so many stars in there. It's so dense. It's
great. It's great to see.
It's unbelievable. Still one of my favorite things to look at. And I've been doing this a while, and I'm still blown away.
Do you know,
by it.
sometimes I'm standing there and I'm looking at all the stars, and it feels like they're just all on a dome. You know, they're all the same distance away. But when you look at that star cloud through the binoculars,
You get a sense of it.
you really feel like there's a lot of depth. You know, you get a sense of the depth of it all. You know, that some of those guys are a lot closer, and a lot further.
And some
away.
are more massive and some are not
Amazing.
so massive.
It's really nice.
Double cluster, same thing, man.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
also the Perseus double cluster. Every time I put that on we usually leave that one till the end, but I put it on maybe the second hit that we did the third night, because we have a set list, right? We have like a greatest hits set list that we do every time we do a galactic. We start with the planets, and we start here on the rock, and then we go to the nearest star, and then we look at a few other stars, and then we start looking at the really deep star clusters. Then we start looking at the seriously deep star clusters, and then we move into the Milky Way,
Andromeda.
and then we move into Andromeda, which is a whole other galaxy. So like, there's so much to see right now. Like, you can see the full Andromeda galaxy. It just looks like a faint disk in the sky, 2 million light years away, 2.5 million light years away. We showed Elliot that night, who was one of the guys that came up when they saw that for the first time. They were just completely they just couldn't get their head around. I was looking at another galaxy. I was looking at a whole other game. Like,
I love the reactions of
yeah, the
people,
reaction. That's another reason why we do this, right? That's one of the big things for us, is when you put the binoculars on someone, and we know there's a few things that people say. It's like, oh my god, holy shit, wow. They're usually the 3 things that we hear.
I love it.
Oh my god. But when you get an oh my god, a holy shit, or a wow, job done.
You know
like.
you're onto it.
You know you're onto
That's
it then.
very good.
You know, and we just let people sit in there. It's not like when you come up, you're standing in a line waiting for your turn, and then you go and you have a look in, and then you're like, okay, that was great, and then you move on. Everybody gets a long go and multiple goes on the gear, and then at the end of the night, we told them to sit back in the chair and scan around.
It's quite peaceful that way, you know, and we don't often take the time just to stop, do we? And like just really soak it up. And
Just soak
I
it
think
up.
it's a chance to do that, and we make sure everyone gets a good chance to do that, and it is a nice vibe. And a lot
Yeah.
of people then are just standing around
Yeah.
chatting. And
There was a
talking about
girl
what's going on.
at the tour we did 4 nights ago. We've done 2 this week. Really good week. We had a shaman come up.
All right,
And
nice.
she was really cool, but when I put it on
missed that
when I
night,
put it
yeah.
on the double cluster for the first time,
Yeah.
she just went,
All right. Nice.
and she didn't say anything for like 5 minutes. And I kind of went up to her after about 5 minutes, just left her there, and I just came up and behind her. I said, "How's that showing up for you?" And she was just like, "Oh my god." She was like, she just
That's it,
couldn't.
yeah.
She was just like,
I think
it's
this-
like
yeah,
home. It's
there's
like home.
something in it for everyone.
Yeah,
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 It's really nice.
So there you go. That's what's happening.
That's
with
exciting, man.
That's
I was
what's happening
happy
with
just
Galactic.
looking into your eyes, man. And
Yeah.
There's
It's
all of that as well.
It's
Holy moly.
it's all good. And don't forget the light that comes from the galaxy, right? Light is information, right? So when you're looking at a star cluster, right, that's a lot of light, right, from multiple thousand suns coming at you, traveling across the galaxy, all at their own pace. Because, well, no, they're all traveling at the speed of light. They're all traveling the same speed, but they're traveling from distant times in the past. So you're getting past
It's the closest thing to a time machine, isn't it?
it's closest thing to a time machine.
Yeah.
And when that light hits your eyeball, it's like a download. It's basically like fiber power broadband of the galaxy, right? That's what it is. Like, you just literally find the frequency and lock in, and you're like,
Some parts
whoa.
of the country don't get that.
There it is. Wow. Okay, that's locked. That's got me. That's saying something to me, right? And then the light, once it goes into your eyeball and into you, it's like it activates. It's kind of like, what's the best way I could describe it? It's kind of like when the starlight goes in, your DNA and your cells get this hit, because we all come from those stars, right? So it makes sense that everything out there is in you as well, right? I know this sounds very esoteric, but just stick with me, right? So the light is coming in, and that's all atoms and whatever, photons and stuff. And inside us, there's light as well, and there's photons, and all the cells are emitting their own photons, and down to the Planck lang, down to the Planck, down to the very smallest thing ever. Okay, so but then that's activating light within you, right? So like a light body, some of you might know what that means. Is a light body, right? So it's kind of like our vibration raises up, and we become like a type 2 or a type 3 civilization, because we're like, oh shit, we know how to do all this stuff now.
I'm gonna have great dreams tonight.
I'm gonna have great
How
dreams
do you sleep
tonight.
after a night under the stars? Like,
really well,
Right, yeah.
really well. It's kind of like a sedative. It's like a sedative. And now that we are on lockdown as well, it's probably a good time to try and get out to the galaxy and get the unlock code.
all right, nice.
Right,
Yeah.
you get the unlock. Oh, that's what it feels like, because it might feel small and locked in where we are, but when you look out there, you realize that you're in a much bigger, vaster thing. So yeah, it might be a lockdown here, but in your mind, it can always be huge.
Well, that's why we got stuck into it from the start, wasn't it?
Yeah,
to get a bit of perspective.
100%. It was like, it was instant for
feel
me.
like
I
the
was
weight
just
of the
literally
world's
went
on
like
your
that. I was
shoulders.
like,
Yeah, it's a nice way to share a bit of weight.
it's
isn't
good.
it?
And
Yeah.
also, when you're looking out the stars all the time, you generally start to, by default, think bigger. Well, I do, definitely, because I'm always looking out there, always, and I'm always getting that perspective. And every time I see the light come to me, the light tells me there's more. And every time I see the light again, it tells me there's more. So by default, my cells know there's more.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If that makes sense. So this
Very
week, we're hoping to do one tomorrow night. And we do have an idea for a new location, but we'll confirm it tomorrow. It is on the Dublin-Wicklow border, so we're technically still in Dublin, and we can still do outdoor events of up to 15. So obviously 15 will be our limit. So if we do put an event up, make sure that you get yourself in very quickly.
Excellent.
And also, like, all our gear is sanitized. We clean everything. We have hand sanitizer, and we can we wear masks sometimes if people request them. On the whole, people come with certain groups, and everybody keeps their distance, and it's all good. So if you really want to see something perspective giving in this crazy level 3 crazy stuff, definitely come out and check out Galactic. You won't be disappointed. Like, you know, like, people who come up, we already kind of know the outcome of what's about to happen, and we're just kind of waiting for it. So it's all good. It's all good, and people always walk away with something.
Something
and also,
different, yeah? Something different,
always, every time. Also, what was really cool was I bought my daughter Maya a new mirror, ring light mirror, 'cause she loves to do this makeup stuff, and she bought this makeup stuff from Charlie D'Amelio, who she follows. This special
Makeup
natural
artist
makeup
person.
artist box. So I bought it for her the other week, and she was really chuffed about that. But then they knew I wanted a Buddha head, so when they were in Windy Ridge, the garden centre, Maya went and bought me, and my mom and Aura, my wife, they bought me this really cool Buddha head. I was chuffed with that. Really beautiful, really good vibes.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just chuffed with that, you know. It was kind of the universe telling me that I need to meditate more, because I haven't been meditating enough lately. And I've been really busy with work. Really
You've been
busy.
working hard,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I've
haven't
been
seen much of you,
really working hard. And it's very easy, guys, to get stuck in the work, kind of buzz, the matrix, work, and you can become very disconnected. 100%. You can just get moved away from nature and from the stars and what's actually really important. So I found that looking out at the stars was huge for me.
And you were up Lugnaquilla today?
No, it wasn't.
No? Is that in another county?
Yeah, no, I wasn't up
Virtually. Oh, that was just a photo from Google.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
gotcha,
definitely
gotcha.
getting out into nature is always a good idea,
Oh, nice.
guys. It's always a good idea. Nature will help you lower your stress levels if you can. I know a lot of you are working from home now. A lot of friends of mine have yoga studios and fitness businesses. that are having to just do one-on-one, and some of them have to completely close because they can't do group classes anymore.
Damn it.
So it's important that we keep a good perspective on what's going on, and do your best to. It might mean just taking your shoes off and going standing out in the grass and connecting with the earth and getting all those good ions from the ground and helping you to lower your stress levels. Also, with regard to your immune system, guys, vitamin C, vitamin D, drops, they're huge. Zinc, that's huge, and magnesium, right? They're 4 things that the body needs, especially those last 3. Vitamin D3 drops, zinc, and magnesium, right? That is going to help you to get all the basic vitamins and minerals that you need and keep your immune system healthy. And it's actually being shown now that especially the vitamin D3 is something that's going to boost your immune system. It's amazing that they don't say this in the mainstream media about this virus attacks the immune system, but here's what you can't do. Now, here is things that you can do to boost your immune system.
I haven't heard anyone talking about that.
Seems like such a no-brainer.
That's nice, man.
Do you know what I mean?
That's nice, man.
Like, I'm a PT by day, so I'm a health professional, but that's just a little tip for you guys out there. Vitamin C, but definitely vitamin D3 drops under the tongue every morning. Zinc, a good zinc complex, and then magnesium spray on your body every day after your shower.
Lovely.
Boom. Done.
Lovely. Take a swim either.
Take a swim, yeah, get a lot of
good stuff in
magnesium.
the sea, yeah.
Get out in nature, and try not to watch too much news. There you go. But always watch Galactic news.
I'm going to take
that's
that advice.
important news.
I think we brought some really good news this week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's class.
Yeah, there we go.
We got you covered. Any of your own thoughts, stick them in the comments underneath the link to the video.
Yeah,
love to hear from you. Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right, cool, guys. Well, listen, thanks a million for tuning in. We will be putting up an event for tomorrow night, so let us know if you want to book in. Just message us on the Facebook page. Anything else or something else I wanted to say? And I think no.
Got it.
I think we're good.
Lovely.
All right, listen, big love, guys. Galactic Ireland. What are you looking at?